ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fit Chat. You know me, your host, Justice, Coach Jay, whatever you want to go with. We're gonna have some fun tonight. Listen, this is gonna be an awesome, awesome, awesome show. Today we're gonna be talking about men's versus women, or men versus women. When it comes to nutrition and fitness. So this is a topic that's, man, age old topic since the beginning of time, at least men versus women. So we have the men versus women thing, but we're going to attach it to the fitness and nutrition sides of it. So if you didn't know, March is nutrition. Is first of all, March is National Women's History Month. So we're going to be celebrating women this entire month. So if you haven't had a chance to sign up for the newsletter, if you haven't had a chance to hop on the IG, Instagram, Facebook page, you're going to be seeing a lot of women celebration. Listen, I'm all for it. I love it. As a man, my mother raised me to acknowledge, make sure acknowledge women, make sure I acknowledge the contributions of women as they come along. So that is in my blood. All right. So that's the first thing. Also, it is National Nutrition Dietitian Awareness Month. So we're going to be getting into that as we go into all of this. This is why we got men's versus women, fitness and nutrition edition. All right. So, you know, I'm not going to be here by myself talking about all of this stuff. All right. We have on the men's side, you have myself, and then we have a special guest for the women's side of this. All right. So you might have seen her before on a podcast previous, talking about nutrition, talking about fitness, and talking about everything in between. All right. Listen, her name is Jessica McAllister. She's, man, if you remember from the last show, she is extremely knowledgeable in her field. But we're going to talk about that as we get into it. If you haven't caught it, make sure you check the last show and get caught up. All right. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and bring her in. Hey, hey, Jessica. Awesome. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you doing today on a Tuesday?
Listen, today has been a day. Everything that can happen has happened today. But I'm here, we're doing it, we're live, and that's what it's all about, right?
Exactly. Yes, yes. I'm happy to be here. This is great. Yeah, being away from home right now, I'm on military duty in Central America. So it's nice to see familiar faces from the States for sure.
I definitely remember those days. Definitely remember these conversations before, COVID was a thing and before,
Yes,
talking online was a thing. But yeah, those callbacks home and families and stuff like that. Yeah, that is technology is amazing. It's amazing
right.
while it
Yeah, for
works.
sure.
When it works.
Exactly.
Unless it's user error and you forget your earphones. Yeah, not gonna get into
You
that.
can't hear nobody, right? Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly. That's in the bloopers. Y'all have to worry about that. Y'all have to catch that later. All right. So we're talking about fitness and nutrition, men versus women, right?
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. Actually, let's go back a little bit. Jessica, can you give us a short introduction? Don't give them too much because we want them to go back and watch that other episode that they should have watched a long time ago already, right?
Yeah.
So let's give them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I am, first of all, I'm a mom of a wonderful 16-year-old daughter. That's my primary right there. That's why I do everything I do. But professionally, I'm a registered dietitian. I've been a dietitian for about 18 years now, and I think the biggest takeaways from my professional life in encompassing my personal life would be that we not only as women, but as people and even dietitians, we struggle with our own personal challenges and journeys when it comes to healthy eating and fitness and everything. And although I have all this education and background, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I gained over 80 pounds. And that was a struggle in and of itself, not only to raise a newborn and take care of a newborn, but to try to get back to quote my fighting weight. I was in the army at the time, and they have their requirements and standards that I had to meet. And then I wasn't feeling well, and on top of everything else. So it was just learning about me and learning about what I needed to do in order to get back to my pre-pregnancy weight. That journey taught me a lot. And since then, I've been trying to share all my knowledge and experience with other women and other people that are struggling with losing weight, being healthy, and taking care of themselves. So that's my journey in a nutshell. But like you said, if you check out the last video, you'll be able to learn more about me.
Absolutely. It's I'm sure that's there's so much more that comes into that picture, everything that makes you you, even including, like you said, your daughter, that helps make you you. And that's the cool because, again, it's National Women's History Month. That's a legacy that you're going to be handing down and that you're going to be passing on, that she'll be able to see, experience firsthand with you on a regular
Good.
basis. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get right into it. Let's
Okay.
not waste any more time. Um, we're talking about men versus women. We're talking about fitness and nutrition. It's something that we both have the uh, pleasure of getting to deal with. And when I say getting to deal with it, because it ain't always easy. Sometimes it's a struggle, you know.
Right.
But the interesting thing is, we're going to talk about some of the struggles that are unique to men and women. Um,
Hmm.
let's start with women. It's National Women's History Month, so let's talk about some of the things that are unique to you all. You know, as a
Yeah.
woman, um, if we're talking about, you can take nutrition or training, since you do both. So let's
Yeah.
talk about some things that you've experienced that you feel like, see, men don't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have to deal with this.
I mean, I think, the low hanging fruit in all this is weight loss, right? A lot of women, it's common knowledge that, men can take one thing out of their diet. They can quit drinking soda, they can cut out sweets, and, they'll lose weight like that. But, women, we do that, and, some of us might gain weight, right? So, yeah, that's just been a age old struggle when it comes to weight loss. And I think, it's common knowledge that men have more muscle mass or lean mass naturally than women do because of the fact that men produce more testosterone, which promotes more muscle gain. So they have, the upper hand when it comes to that because muscle burns more calories than fat. However, women, we're unique in the sense that, we tend to be smaller in frame, smaller in size. And so when it comes to losing weight, it's easier or less of a struggle for us to, if we control our calories, to at least trend downward. So I think that's the main thing that women have to understand is that, there is a way to increase your muscle mass and to maintain your muscle mass in order to be able to burn more calories and lose weight. We just have to find out what that balance is when it comes to, our frame, our genetic makeup, all of that. So it's possible, but again, men, they kind of have the upper hand when it comes to that.
So it comes down to basically learning what works for you.
Yes.
So that is, I feel like that's interesting because I feel like that's all the way around. It's just different
Yeah.
in different areas for you all as opposed to us as men. Um, I feel like us as men, we gravitate towards upper body stuff. I
Hmm.
see it, you see it all the time. You see the leg day memes, skipping leg day and stuff like that,
Right.
with the baby
Yeah.
deer legs and whatnot. So, and it seems
Yeah.
like to me, I see most women gravitate to lower body exercises.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of women that I get to talk to as a trainer, they're like, I want to get in shape, but I don't want to do my arms. I don't want to have big arms and bulky arms and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
um, some women, because they're not. Some other women out here, hey, I want to have them Michelle Obama arms. I want to have them Angela Bassett arms, or somewhere, in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
So that's one thing I see a lot uh,
Yeah.
when it comes to where what's why do you think that is as a woman in your
Well,
experience?
I think for me, because I do a lot of training too, and I think that women want to maintain their femininity, and there's these myths that if I train a certain body part, it's going to grow, right? Like, muscle grows in isolation, and our body is a whole system. So, number one, like if we do incorporate upper body workouts into our routine, that doesn't necessarily mean that, our arms are going to get all big and, muscular and cut up and it's going to be disproportionate because again, like, our hormones control all of that, and the estrogen that's within us won't let us get to that place. It'll balance it out, so again, like, I think that the trend is moving in the right direction with that because from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, a lot of women, that train and want to change their body composition and their look, they want to have that balance, so they realize the importance of training your upper body, not only for the look and, because they say, if you train your shoulders, it makes your waist look smaller. And, if train your lower body, you can increase your glute size, all of that. But, like the full body workout, I mean, it has so many benefits, and even outside of the look thing, because there are, a lot of us that don't necessarily train to look a certain way. For me at my age, it's functional. Like I'm trying to not struggle climbing the stairs, and I'm trying to stay in the army a little bit longer. So, for me, it's a very functional thing. So I think that if women are starting to realize that, hey, I need to have more balance to my workouts, then once they start seeing transformation and start seeing that, I can trust my body and my estrogen to do what it needs to do and balance everything out, then they end up seeing the results that they want. So it's one of those trust the process things.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually that's usually how the conversation goes. Is I can't start straight out that like that. Um, because they're gonna go find another trainer. Like, I want to train with you. You want to make me big. You ain't hear me when I said I don't want to do weight stuff. Listen. So I have to be
Yeah.
like, I have to nod, and be like, yeah, okay. So you want to work out this part and not this part at all. Not that part at all. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna keep that, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
do this and not do this. Got you. Too easy. Don't worry about it. All right, so let's grab those weights. So
So I have a question for you
yeah,
as a trainer. Like, how do you adjust workouts, like keeping that in the back of your mind, but still like sneaking in like exercises that train those parts that don't necessarily want to be trained? I'm curious.
that what I end up doing a lot of times. There's a couple things I end up doing. Um, Compound workouts is a
Okay.
really good trick. That I'll do. Like, hey, let's do this exercise. It's going to be mostly targeted to this body, but because the way
Hmm.
the workout is set up, you have to use these parts of your bodies, which you're going to ultimately get. worked out as well.
Makes sense.
So, so there's that. There is, like you said, learning to trust the process. One big thing is a lot of people, as they either see the results or as they start liking how they feel when they work out, they start trusting you a little bit more. So then you can start to say like, "Hey, all right, we did this. This was awesome. You felt good, right? You like that, right?
Hmm.
All right, so let's try this. You trust me." Like, we built that trust and a little bit of the
Yeah.
rapport,
Hmm.
and then kind of move it in like that. It's almost like kids,
Yeah.
sneaking vegetables in their diets and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that makes me think, like, from a nutrition perspective, like a lot of women are hesitant in adding protein to their diet because they think that that'll like exacerbate or make their muscles grow or make them get fat. But really, women in general don't eat enough protein. And the reason I know this to be true outside of what I've read and what I've seen is because as we age, we lose a certain percentage of our muscle mass just naturally. And women tend to lose it a little bit faster than men do. And I think a lot of that does have to do with our activity and how we train. But a good portion of that, just based off of like the tons of food logs and meal plans that I've seen out there, they don't allow women to get enough protein into their diet. So, if anything, we as women, we shouldn't be scared to eat the right kinds of protein because, we know that protein helps to build muscle. It's that building block. And even if we're not looking to like gain a whole ton of muscle or, like just bulk up like that, which again, we're not really going to do, but at the same time, we do need a certain amount of protein in order to at least maintain and sustain the muscle mass that we have. So I think women shy away, especially when you start talking about like you're not getting enough protein from your food because you're cutting calories and you're
Right.
cutting protein. So now you should probably add a protein shake, and women are like, whoa, 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 that sounds like man stuff.
Right.
we
Man stuff.
don't say it like
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
because that's
No, but that I've heard that. That's the
yeah.
thing. I've heard the man stuff. I heard um I'm not going. It was a lady said she wasn't going to do push-ups. She said she was not going to do push-ups because that's a man thing.
Mm, yeah.
I was like, so you ain't got arms, you ain't got muscles in your upper body, your shoulders, your chest, nothing. Okay,
Yeah.
got you. Only us.
Sure.
But I've heard a little bit of, you've been together long enough. You hear a little bit of everything, and a
Hmm.
lot of it is very um, interesting. I have not
Yeah.
heard a lot about the protein thing, maybe like here and there, but not as much um, from my end. But I
Yeah.
do hear a lot of the uh, fitness stuff. Like I'm trying to think of a move specifically other than push-ups. Pull-ups
Yeah.
is
Pull
one
ups.
of them. They're
Yeah.
like,
Bench
you gotta
press.
be at it.
You,
Bench press, yes, yes,
yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
all of that. It's like we're gonna stay by the squat rack, by the dumbbells, cable machine, at the most. But
Yes.
you know, yeah, the upright, military
Oh yeah.
press or
Shoulder
shoulder press,
presses.
yeah,
Yeah.
all of that. You know, I ain't gonna have my
Uh
shoulders
huh.
looking like yours. That's what they tell me. But like, I don't want to like not like that, but like in shape. I'm like, okay, I don't know how to take that, but okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But with that being
Um,
said, what's one of the things that um talking about supplements and talking about the diet, what are some differences on that end that you have to explain or have to deal with?
yeah. I think the biggest conversations I have about supplements include magnesium. I don't necessarily I think men get more magnesium in their diet than women do. Of course, they need a little bit more, but women tend to, again, not eat a lot of the foods that contain magnesium, like your protein sources, um, nuts and seeds generally. So, and that really affects not only our quality of sleep, but it affects our energy levels throughout the day as well. So usually with the clients that I see, it's either supplementing magnesium or adding magnesium. And then, women are more prone, especially as we age, to bone mineral density loss, like not necessarily osteoporosis as far as a diagnosis, but we just lose a lot of the bone mineral density because of the changes in our estrogen levels as we age. So, making sure we have adequate calcium, because a lot of us don't drink milk because, we're lactose intolerant. So, there are other food sources, such as green leafy vegetables, of course, fortified orange juice, that can provide us the calcium that we need. So I think those are the two biggest ones. And of course, I have conversations all the time about multivitamins. And I think at this point, if you're trying to adjust your diet and you're cutting back either on calories or cutting back on fat, multivitamin, the right kind of multivitamin, is definitely a good idea to incorporate as a supplement. And any supplements really are the purpose of them is to bridge the gap between what you're eating and what you need. So if we go into choosing supplements with that mindset, then we won't, be swayed by every supplement ad that comes our way. They should be marketing for bridging the gap versus like, burning fat or, all that other stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that kind of reminds me of, I guess, the fitness side of it, talking about how to not just bridge the gap, but how to do some of those things that uh, will help overall. Some of those things that
Hmm.
you miss because you do either too much of one thing, or like we talked about before, being afraid to do those other
Hmm.
things for whatever reason. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, what's something that you let me ask you this. We about to
Hmm.
get into it. So what's something that you specifically don't like to do fitness related?
Run.
Run?
Yeah. Hands down, I hate it.
Yeah,
I do.
you're in the right
Yeah,
field.
yeah. I don't like running. I don't. Yeah.
Man.
And but I do it because I don't do it as often as like people that actually like to run, but I do it because I know the benefits,
Mhm.
right? And again, it's not necessarily like a physique thing or like, I think it's good. If anything, like some women that I talk to that don't like to run, they don't like it because they think that they're gonna look too skinny, if they
Mhm.
become runners.
I hear that.
And anybody that runs realizes that if they balance out their calorie needs with the running, like if anything, you will lean up a lot. And so that's why I incorporate running into some of my workouts some weeks, because I know that it's the kind of cardio that my body needs in order to like change things up a bit. Running takes you use like pretty much all your muscles when you run, and
Yes.
yeah,
It is actually one
yeah,
of I'm on the opposite end. I actually like to run.
mhm.
And it's weird because I'm not a smaller guy. So
Yeah.
it's, usually more common with that. I can say before I joined the army, I despise running,
Hmm.
everything about running. I didn't like how
Yeah.
it looked when other people ran. Like, you look ridiculous. You ain't even got, ain't nothing in this world that important that you got to get to that fast. No.
That's how I think now. It's not that
Yeah.
serious.
I'll be there. Don't worry about it. I'm on my way. Don't worry.
I'm good. I'll
But
be there.
since the army, I mean, you have your days. I mean, you got to run when you got to run, and then you
Hmm.
have those, battalion runs, brigade runs, all that other stuff, because
Yeah.
somebody was like, "Hey, let's do it."
Yeah.
Um, so after a while, I had to get better. Just like everything else that I've done in my life, had to get. I was never good at it. I was never, I didn't feel like I was naturally good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's actually another thing that we touch on in a second, with men and women. But running was definitely on that list. Was not naturally good at, so I had to work at it. I, there's that one person that's in, in your battalion or squad or whatever, that's like, hey,
Hmm.
come on, come on. Either
Hmm.
they or your friend, and they're like, I want to help you because I like to run,
Yes.
or you're like, I need you to help me help me run,
Yes.
or they're assigned to you
Yeah.
because the unit sees that you suck at
The
running.
special runners list.
Exactly, exactly. So I had a little
Yes.
bit of all of that, but by the time, by the time maybe I'd say a year or two in, I was
Yeah.
like just running on my own for no reason.
Yeah.
And it seems like the
Yeah.
only thing that works for me to drop weight. Um,
Yeah.
I can do hit. I love hit all day. I can do hit, circuit
Hmm.
training, all the good stuff. But
Hmm.
running, nothing else does the same way. So,
Yeah, this is true. This is true. And for me, I think it was back in college. I was in ROTC my first couple years of college, and we would get up at like 5 in the morning and run the campus. And at the time, I mean, I wasn't like out of shape because I had done sports in high school, so I came and I wasn't like an elite athlete or anything, but I knew the concept of running. I've
right.
I've run before. So, just doing those campus runs, and like you said, for me it was like our cadre. I'll never forget Sergeant Taylor. He would come behind me, and I would be shuffling, and he'd be like, "Oh, come on now! I know you can go faster than that." He would push me, and I hated it. But what I loved was on that same campus, probably about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would see like all the I call them the little sorority girls. They would be out for their walks and runs, and I'd be like, I already got that in. Like, I already did mine. So, it's a confidence booster in that sense. And I think that's why, even though as much as I don't like it, I gravitate toward morning workouts because of the fact that I know it's done, it's out of the way, and if the whole rest of the day, goes to whatever,
Yeah.
I at least know that I got that in for the day that I had planned it. And and that's another struggle
Mm.
with women is that, we tend to not prioritize our fitness. You know, everything else, the kids, the husband, the job, if any one of those things
Pets.
gets in the way, or something comes up with any one of those things, oh, I can't make my workout today. And to me, that it's a telltale sign of how we put everybody else first. And that is one mentality I wish that we would not do, because you've heard it said, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. And so I think we as women, like, we have to be selfish in that respect, because if we're, losing our strength, we're, losing our health, we certainly can't take care of anybody else. So that's,
Listen, that's interesting that you kind of touched on that because we can sit here and talk all day about getting into fitness and being kind of solo in that game. It's hard to find friends who like to work out. That workout partner or that group or whatever, uh,
yeah,
that want to work out with you or that'll push you work out. Um,
yeah,
and a lot of the women that I work with, women and men, um, that I get to work with, they're we usually have to how do I say this? They usually, if they end up prioritizing their selves and their health and their
yeah,
wellness, people start to fall off,
yeah,
or they just, it just ends up building a distance or whatever somehow,
yeah,
or either, again, their friends usually still like have those same excuses.
yeah,
And they're like, I'm gonna be at the gym, or I'm gonna be,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be in my garage or whatever, they're gonna
yeah,
be doing. So
yeah.
I think that it is kind of difficult to do both, balance that out, like, or
Mhm.
feel like you can do both. I
Yeah,
think it's possible, especially with women. Y'all make it work. Like, I'm juggling this family. I'm juggling this relationship. I'm juggling this
yeah.
workout. I'm doing it. Y'all make it
Oh yeah,
work. When
yeah.
y'all get past the excuses that everybody have to deal with. But
Mhm.
yeah, but I usually do
Mhm.
see the ones that are more serious about their health and wellness. They their friend relationships aren't as um, attended to. I don't want to make it sound like they kind of just like throw everybody off, but I know they make that time. You
Yes.
know,
And I think you really find out who your true support system is,
yeah,
and especially with the clients that I deal with that need to change their eating life, their food life. You really, when there's more than one person in your household, that's a difficult thing to do. I don't take that lightly when it comes to dealing with that, because it's either you're making your own meals for you and then you're making stuff for the rest of the family, or you got to get the whole family on board because you're only cooking one meal.
right,
And so I believe that there's some middle ground. It just takes a little bit of creativity when it comes to planning meals, but at the same time, you know I think the biggest thing that anybody could ever do is to communicate why they're doing it in the first place. Going back to our conversation about, physique and looking good, some people don't buy into that. Oh, I want to, trim waist, and I'm trying not to use explicits here, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
You know, I want to change my body
I know.
composition. I
I
want to
hear
look
all of it.
good. There are people that might play along for a while, but then it
Mhm.
gets old. But, if you really have a genuine why and a genuine motivation to change those things, to make time to go to the gym, and that's time you're going to be away from home, or make, different meals, or, start buying certain foods, stop buying certain foods, and you have that support system and they understand your actual why, like that's the buy-in, right? And so I think that if anything, we as women need to be supported in our health and wellness journeys, because it weighs. I mean, I'm sure it weighs on men too, but at the same time, because we're so maternal, and we bear burdens mentally and emotionally, it weighs on us, if we hear negative things related to, oh, she's going to the gym, or oh, she's cooking this healthy food again.
Mhm.
That it might be funny, first couple times, but it can certainly affect our motivation. So if you got a woman out there that's trying to get her health life right, like, support her, because she's probably trying to do it for you. Quite honestly,
Actually, that kind of
Yeah.
segues into another point, but I'm gonna take a second to hang out right here. I saw a video um, of a young lady. She posted, and I don't know how viral this went, so I don't know who all saw it. So you might have seen this. Um,
Mhm.
but there's a young lady. She was about to do her workout, and somebody else outside of the camera shot um, walked over and was like, "Hey, how are you doing today? Is it okay? How do you feel about I pray for you?" I think that's what it was. Um,
Mhm.
and the lady that was recording the video, broke down. She walked over to her. She was like, "Oh yeah, I am going through some stuff, and yeah, yeah, please pray for me." you know. But I don't see, or let me say that I don't hear about that interaction with women a lot when it comes to the gym, health, fitness, stuff like that. You hear about the competitiveness, you hear about the
Yeah.
um I'm about to outsquat her, or I'm about to, compete or Shane, all that type of thing. We hear about that stuff
Mhm.
all the time, of
Yeah,
course. You hear the
yeah.
negative stuff. Um, but do you find as a woman, uh, more support from women or men, or just I guess we could just talk about the woman side of it.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty legit question, and actually until now I hadn't really thought about it, but now that you mention it, um, and I don't know if it's because I've been on my journey for like a long time that I get support from women, but it looks different than the support I get from men. I think with women, it's like oh, that's great,
Mhm.
very nice. And my true friends that know me, of course, they're like, in the background, yes, they got me. But, other women, if they do comment or say anything, it's very subtle, and again, it might not be anything at all. But, when it comes to men, um, you know, they may comment on my performance, and on Instagram I post a lot of like workout videos of like new exercises I'm trying, or things I'm doing in the gym, if I got kind of a different kind of plan going on. And so I'll get comments, from my male friends about, oh, that, you're killing it in the gym, you do it because I'm doing different things.
Right.
But at the same time, I also get those comments from men that kind of like, oh, like for example, I think I posted a video of me doing a deadlift. I was thinking, yeah, I was doing deadlifts, and some guy commented. Of course, I know him, but he was like, "You need to lean back a little bit more, and tilt your hips or whatever, blah blah blah." So that's the kind of stuff that I get from men, like what you call it, mansplaining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You're not my trainer.
Right.
Bye.
Listen, that's
Just
that's
saying.
hilarious because I do that. Like, I
So,
do that, but I
saying,
mean I am a trainer, so that it works
yeah.
out. But I
Well, is
always
it solicited though? Like, did anybody ask you?
nope. Nope. Now let me
Oh
back up.
no.
Now it happens,
I
a lot
know.
where now I will get approached, and that's something we can talk about too. I get approached
Yeah.
more from women asking for help or asking for tips or whatever,
Okay.
than men. Like men will be
Sure.
out there and they will do the whole workout wrong. They will be backwards. They'll be on a machine. Their head will be where
Mm.
they legs supposed to be. Whole thing wrong, and they will not
Uh,
ask for help.
uh-huh.
And
That makes
not all
sense.
men, but women, they be like,
Some
I ain't about to
power.
be out here looking crazy. Not about to be out here looking crazy. So,
Right.
can you show me how to use this machine? And then
Yeah.
some of them I'll show how to use a machine. I'm like, okay, I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure. I'm like,
Mm. Okay.
got you. So she just ain't want to be looking stupid. She like, let
Yes.
me confirm real quick, cause y'all ain't going to have me on somebody's Facebook looking
Right.
crazy.
Doing this all the way wrong.
So, but I also am that type of person. I'm that.
Yes.
That's the whole reason why I got into fitness and health and wellness field, because I was like, I want to help people that don't know this stuff. There's
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, there's so much information out there, and people will come with this commercial or this meme and be like, "Hey, what do you think about this? I heard that I ain't
Mm-hmm.
gotta eat protein. I heard I ain't gotta eat no
Yes.
protein at all."
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
they're like, "Okay, um,
I don't eat fruit.
man." And the whole what was it? Keto. As that's a thing. That's a I ain't gotta eat crap. I ain't gotta eat carbs at all. I ain't
Right.
gotta eat carbs. That's what they said. That's how I reach my goals. Cut out all the carbs.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Cut out all carbs,
Yeah.
right? Which is impossible,
Right.
by the way,
Right.
because
Just
even
talk.
meat has a few grams. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
I was just talking to somebody today about their broccoli because they were trying to cut carbs, and I was like, you know how much carbs? broccoli. Throw that out there. But
FYI.
but back to what we were talking about at first. But yes, it's about probably about 50-50.
Yes.
Maybe 60-40, 60 being unsolicited because
Mm-hmm.
I'm that type of person. I'm like, I'm not gonna let you out here look crazy. I'm not gonna um, let you hurt yourself, definitely. Um,
That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
If there's risk
I,
of injury. Hmm.
yeah. So, but there's in the back of my head because I know the conversation about the mansplaining thing. I know the conversation about would you walk up to a man just as fast to correct his form, or is it just because I'm a woman and you like he don't know she don't know what she's doing, or she
Hmm.
can't know
Hmm.
what she's doing, so it got to be let me go ahead and help her real quick because she you know
Yeah.
yeah she's her first day. It's her like,
Right, right. Well,
you
and
know
a lot of women are apprehensive about going to the gym for that reason. Number one, they think that people are going to be looking at them and judging how they're working out. And I will say, I've never, well, I won't say never, but I can probably count the number of times I went to the gym and somebody was actually paying attention to what I was doing if it wasn't my trainer. You know what I mean? Like, the gym gets a bad rap in that sense because, there's a minority of people that are out there, like, actually. Now, I mean, you work at a gym, so I'm sure, like, you know, you're at the gym a lot. But for those of us that don't work at a gym, that we just go there to work out, 9 times out of 10, nobody's paying attention to you because they're trying to pay attention to themselves. And, half people are looking at themselves in the mirror, and the other half are just trying to get it right and get it done. So that's one thing that I would want to convey when it comes to women being apprehensive about going to the gym. Like, you're there for a purpose, get your workout in and go. Like, it's okay. And you know what? If they're looking, let them look. Unless it's you, of course, and you correct their form.
I would do it. I would like I'll let you look crazy for a little bit. Um and that's actually the reason. It's actually the reason because I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't want nobody to get mad at me because I'm explaining to them, this
yeah,
thing. And sometimes, like, if I don't have my badge on or my lanyard on, I just like a regular
hmm,
person. And
yeah.
you can tell the difference when I have my badge on and when I don't have my badge on. When I don't have it
Mm,
on, you get that look like, who are you? Who are you? Like it's always, and then they be like, okay, and they kind of roll
yeah,
their eyes. Like
yeah.
never fails. Never
But you know
fails.
what? Like, isn't that just like me going up to somebody in the grocery store being like, that has a lot of sugar, right? You might want to put that back.
You know what? That's a good point.
That's what people think dietitians do. Like, we look at everybody's grocery cards and judge.
Yeah,
I could care less about what's in your
yeah.
cart unless you ask me to.
Right, right. So that actually make a lot of sense. Like, do you get the people that come up to you and well, not come up to you, but that you're talking to or clients or anything that they give all the defensive stuff before they answer your actual question. You're like, what did you eat today, or what did you do today? And like, well,
Yeah.
let me tell you that okay, I can tell you, I already didn't do good. Didn't do good. I had family in town, and we all from the south. We're all from whatever. We like fried food. Do you get it? Do you get that?
And it's just like that too. It's well, I at first, well, what it is, I started off, I was doing really good on Monday and Tuesday. And then, especially if I got food logs in front of me, right?
Mm,
Before I get to Wednesday, they got to warn me that Wednesday is going to look a little off.
right.
And I'm like, that's okay,
Yeah.
we got one day that was off, and
Right.
they think, don't hate me, don't be mad at me. Like,
Yeah.
again, I'm not judging.
And it's always because I would see that stuff online, or they were like, my my trainer gonna kill me, but because they posting a picture of something that they eat or something. My trainer gonna
Yes.
kill me. Like, we gonna we gonna burn it off on Monday. Don't worry about it. Like, but I ain't out to get you. I may or may not even seen your post because I'm
Yeah.
busy. you know.
First of all, right.
Yeah. Oh, you tagged me in that? Oh, I didn't even know.
My fault.
But
But,
so let's kind of talk
we don't.
about
We as dietitians, we don't have that kind of recourse, right? Like I
yeah,
can't quote punish you for eating a piece of cake over the weekend, because you control your own eating. So you
right,
can have all the cake you want. You're just not going to get the results that you're probably looking for.
right,
But
right.
yeah.
And that's see the thing as a trainer, like we can't with men or women, we cannot. There's a lot of things on the lines. Okay, there's layers to the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing because
Mm-hmm.
when people don't reach their goals, they sometimes blame you as a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
They might say it, they might not, or they might not say it to you, but they'll fall off and you won't see them anymore. And they'll. I've had people tell me, like, hey, the guy I was training with before, he ain't do me right. Like, I'm looking like, are you gonna talk about me like that if you don't reach your goal? And then you talk to them further and find out that they got a lot of bad habits. They maybe
Mm-hmm.
didn't show up for a lot of their sessions. They complained the entire time. They didn't do most of the stuff. Like, I don't do this. I don't run. I don't like to run. I'm not doing this. I don't know why this is my voice, right? This is my complaining voice. Everybody
I know why
sounds the
you
same
said that,
complaining.
but continue.
I'm talking about specific people.
Right.
They know who they are. This client knows exactly who I'm talking about.
You'll tag them.
Oh, my client gonna kill me. But
Oh,
yeah, that's the thing. And I'm like, listen, you do your thing. You do what's you with me at maybe an hour out of your day. You
yeah.
got 23 other
Mhm.
hours to
Yeah.
do right. Do right by
Yeah.
yourself. You know,
Yeah. Hmm. And
you
that's
can pay
that's
me.
why the why is so important,
Mm,
because I too see that where, and really what I like to do is uncover all that like day one. We're having that conversation about, okay, how many times have you dieted in the past?
mm,
Why didn't it work out for you? What barriers, what obstacles, what hurdles do you have that keep you from eating the way you need to eat? And I think uncovering those ahead of time, it helps because not only does it give me a sense of like, who I'm working with as a person, but it also gives that person a sense of, okay, these are the things that tripped me up last time. And, if those things are still in the picture, then they may trip me up this time. So maybe I want to think about like, how I can eliminate some of those barriers if this is what I really want to do. So, I mean, to me, that's a huge conversation to have, and it makes the difference for sure.
mm.
Yeah.
That's a huge point because I get the opportunity to. That's usually what I start with too. Like, let's have this conversation. It's usually during the assessment. Some people are more vocal than others, and
Hmm.
that's something that we can definitely talk about because mm, I definitely get that more from women than men. When we have
Yeah.
those conversations, they usually, if you don't talk enough, and you probably know this, if you don't talk enough, they will just go. They will just
Yeah.
word vomit, you know. And if you don't say enough stuff, I feel like this is how therapists do it. But if you don't say enough, you sit there quiet long enough, they will get to the bottom of it themselves. You might ask one open-ended
Hmm.
question, like, when did that start? You know, and
Yes.
it goes to the bottom of that. Do you have the same experience like you get to the why faster or more often than with women than you do with men?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, and I think that definitely is a man versus woman thing because men answer questions very matter of factly, right? You ask them, how many times have you dieted? And men say three. You ask a woman that, well, I tried Atkins in 2008 and I tried South Beach and I tried this, but this didn't work. And this is, we give the whole picture.
Hmm.
And I don't know, maybe that's why it's easier for me to work with women because
Hmm.
like I don't have to ask so many questions to get the answers that I need. But at
Right.
the same time, I think men look at health and fitness from like a very practical standpoint,
Hmm.
so if you ask them a question they're going to give you that answer, so I have to like frame my questions a little bit differently when I'm talking to men
Hmm.
versus when I'm talking to women. But yeah, that's a definite difference for sure.
Yeah. I can definitely say that I've, in having those conversations, I've definitely had more emotional experiences um, with women. Because a lot of time it will either go back to like I tried this before and life punched me in the face and it did not work
Yeah,
out, and I tried it again and it punched me in the face again, and I don't know
yeah,
what I really want. I really do want it, but I can't figure this out, and I'm trying on my own, and I can't get the help I need, or the help I need costs too much money, or I don't know who to go
yeah,
to. And they'll go into it, and next thing you know, voice is shaky, and it's a whole thing. And
yeah.
men, I've had in my 10 years of training, I've had one guy. And it wasn't in the conversation portion of it. It wasn't in the assessment. I mean, it was during the assessment, but it was during the physical part of the assessment. Um,
Hmm.
we got on the treadmill to see what he can do cardio wise. And he got on the treadmill. It's the treadmill starts with 1 mile an hour. Um, when it
Hmm.
comes on. So we're like, hey, all right, like I said, he's an older guy. So he got on there and he's like, okay, you know, let's put it up a little bit. We put it up to, about 1.3 or something like that, very slowly. Um, and he hasn't walked in a while. He had an issue with his hip and his leg and stuff like that. So um,
Hmm.
that was a thing. But he also, I'll get to that part in a second. But um, I told him, I was like, listen, we got 3 ways we can stop this machine. We got this button right here. We got this thing right here. We got this little thing with the string on it. If it pull, it'll stop. Don't even worry about it. I'm right here. I got you. Do you feel comfortable in increasing? Because I was like, I feel like you can increase. Um, so we
Yeah.
increased. We did that a couple of times. We increased to maybe, I want to say 3 miles an hour, but I feel like it was slower than that. Um, but we increased. And this man was like, wow, I'm doing it. I didn't think I could do this. And I'm paying attention, and I noticed this glory tear, from that movie, that glory Denzel, that Denzel tear, like, and I'm like, and then he starts talking, he's like, I, I ain't did this in a long time. I didn't even think I can do this, after my accident,
Yeah.
and this, that, and whatever, and dealing with wife stuff, and it's always with men. Is there's always wife stuff. There's always, and it's not like bad stuff all the time. It's like
Yeah.
what it comes down to it. The men will complain about the wives, but
Hmm.
what it comes down to it is them as men want to feel like men in their wives'
Yeah.
eyes.
Yes.
Whether
Yeah.
that's being strong enough, whether that's being capable, whether that,
Yeah.
finances, all the other stuff. Um, but that's usually what the why comes down to with men. Either that or they just it's aesthetics, and they like, yeah, man. They won't say it right away, but it's like, yeah, you want to look good for the ladies. It's okay. Oh, I got you. Yeah. Because men,
Yes.
we work out different. We will work out. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but one thing I've learned since I was younger, we as men,
Yeah.
everything we do revolves around some woman somewhere. Some woman said, "Hey, it don't matter who it is. It could have been somebody on TV. It could have been somebody's friend. Could have been you could have overheard a
Yeah.
conversation. Like, I like shoulders and backs. Guess what? We in there working out. we in there, we in there getting it. Backs in that row, bad form and all.
Fact.
But we
Fact.
shoulders, backs, arms, chest. That's what I heard growing up.
Yes.
I ain't even having most of these conversations, but I overhear that stuff. I overheard that stuff. And I was thinking
Yeah.
about, you like dudes skipping leg day and all this other stuff. Like, that's why. Because we
Yes.
ain't hearing, no lady saying, "Oh man, he got some nice calves." Like, "Oh man, I really like that dude quads, man." Like, so we ain't in there working on that
Exactly.
because ain't nobody checking for that, you know. And I feel like it's the same for women. Y-
Yeah.
y'all hear more like y'all lower
Hmm.
body. You're like, "Oh man, she got some nice legs," or she like,
Yeah.
her glutes is nice. I
Uh-huh.
say glutes, yeah.
Right. Yes.
So they like, let's do it.
Hmm.
These squats, these leg presses. So I
Fact.
think we
True.
have a huge influence on each other that we don't even realize or
Yeah.
definitely, you know, give enough attention to,
It's
whether it's a
true.
significant
Yeah.
other or just random people, you know. So, all right. So,
Yeah.
this is one thing I want to get into. Now, this is the real meat of this. Like, uh, all of the
Okay.
so I'll get to see this a lot, and this was always weird to me, or interesting, because as a man, there's a whole lot of rules, unspoken rules, that things you do not do when it comes to women in a gym. Some people know them, some people don't. You know,
Mm.
I've been in this game for a while, so I had an opportunity to hear a lot of it. I have a lot of women friends, so I have the opportunity to hear it a lot. So things that you do or don't do
Yeah.
when it comes to women in the gym. One, she got on earphones. Don't mess with her. Don't bother her. It's
Fact.
and that's one of a many. I can go down this whole list, and I might go down this list in a second. But the defensiveness of women in the gym, in from my understanding, could be horribly wrong, is
Yeah.
100%. It's like, oh, this dude
And
want
you
me
know
because
that's
he's
why.
about to say something.
You know why that is. You know why that
I
is,
think I
right?
know. I feel like because it
It's
happens all the time.
because, well, for me, yes, it does.
Yeah.
For me, it took a whole lot to get there in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I'm there, I don't want to be bothered. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get in my zone, listen to my music, get my vibe, knock out my workout,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, I'll talk to you. But because it takes the struggle to get to the gym is real.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get there, we just like we got to be in our zone. Unless
Mm-hmm.
we're like in a group class or something like that. That's a little different. But
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
don't,
So
don't do it.
my thing was always, how am I finding all these like hashtag soulmates? Somebody approached somebody at some time. Like, am I just walking past while you working out? I don't want them to look like I'm looking at you because that's just creepy. So I'm just like walking to the water fountain like 7 times. I ain't that thirsty. I'm probably over drinking right now, but wait till you get to the point where you're done with your workout. Oh, she grabbing the bag. All right, all right, all right. Well, shoot, what was I gonna say? Hey, you strong? I saw you flipping that plate. You strong? I mean, you're yeah. It's okay to be strong as a woman. That's good. That's good. That's not bad. I like you.
That's about how I say
How,
that.
I feel like it does. Like,
That
cause
sounds about right.
I don't, because I have no idea. I always wondered about that. Like, how do people find quote unquote this swole mate? And because all these rules,
Yeah.
you don't want to be creepy as a guy. You don't want to be
Yeah.
too aloof, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody got to approach
Yeah.
somebody. How does that?
Yeah.
So have you had to deal, first of all, with that in the gym scene as one?
With that,
Yeah.
yeah.
With the
I
approaching and
mean, yeah.
all of it.
Yeah, and again, it's usually like after the workout when I'm getting ready to leave. If somebody happens to be leaving around the same time, it's man, you killed that workout. I saw you doing that, blah blah blah. How long you been working on? And then yeah, the questions come,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's where the conversation comes in. Or
Yeah.
I think like for me, and especially where I am now, not that like I get that kind of attention here, but a lot of people work out around the same time. So like you got your morning crew that comes in most days of the week in the morning, and then you got your afternoon or evening crew that comes in. So I think like if you, especially if you belong to a smaller gym, like you've got your time crews to where you just start like having gym friends, and then
Mm,
the gym friend thing turns into gym dating, and
mm,
dating outside the gym, and oh, let's do a workout together, and it evolves into the swole mate, if you will.
mm.
But I mean, I don't think like if a woman is, and I'm thinking about this because I'm not speaking for all women when I say this, but
Absolutely.
as a single woman, if a man approaches me in the gym and is not commenting on my physique,
Mm,
but commenting on the work I'm putting in, respect, yeah, have a conversation about that. But if you're commenting on the way I look, or you're just trying to get my attention and you really don't have anything valuable to, as far as conversation, then yeah,
so you got to play the long game. You got to be like, hey,
yeah,
nice weights. That's awesome.
nice way.
Protein. Great, right? You know, you got to play
Well,
the
you can
long
start
game.
with,
You can't just be
get
like,
up
hey,
to
girl.
fist bump, the occasional high five.
Hey, look, COVID. Got you. Elbow. All right. Progress to elbow.
Right. Yeah,
Listen, man, that boggles, that always boggled my mind. I was like, how did that happen with all of these rules? Y'all told me, you told me. Because I feel like when it comes down to it, I don't want nobody interrupting my workout. It sounds good until like Michael B. Jordan walk into the gym. And then it's like, I wasn't even really working out. Let's be real. You want to use this? You want to use this? You want to use this one too? We can work in. We can work in. I'm about to be take a break in a second. Don't worry. I got to rest.
I need to get some
Like,
water.
yeah. It sound good until you know that right person walk in it. But that's me. That's my unsolicited opinion when
That's
it
your
comes
take
to that.
on the situation.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, this is me. No, you working out. You working out. Yep. Yeah. Michael B. Joy. Michael B. Mike. Mikey.
Or you have those females that will actually like try to be impressively working out, like doing the squats the right way, and
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the kickbacks, the
Yeah.
donkey kicks,
Yep. All the glute workouts.
hoping to get noticed.
All the glute.
Yeah.
I got the pants. I got the
Yes.
Lululemons. I got the got the Fabletics on. You
Look,
see me?
am I breaking girl code here? I feel like I am a little bit.
You say what?
I said I feel like I'm breaking the girl code, but
It's okay because we talked about men a lot.
because
Talk
men do
about
that stuff too.
listen.
Men do that stuff too. They will put
Yes.
extra plates on
Yes.
just to
Oh.
make it look good.
mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
knowing
Oh
you got
yeah.
only about 4 reps in you.
No music on because I want to hear when you approach me. So my music is off. but my earphones
Yeah.
on. I got the look on my face. Yes,
The-
yes. Like I don't get that. Like I get because I feel like the whole rejection thing is a thing. You know, dudes we're expected to deal with it. Women, nah, I ain't about to feel that. I don't want that. Don't mess my whole
yeah.
year up. I ain't got time for it. So so the I never get straightforward anything. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
you train, right? Can you show me some stuff to do on these machines? What's the things to do with this? Or I've even gotten hmm, back up a little bit. I've even gotten it going far as to like actually purchasing training, and you usually know what happened because I'm gonna be the same way. Period. Because I try not to mix work and everything else.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm gonna be the trainer. So
Yeah.
it don't matter what you're doing. It don't matter what your form look like or what you trying to push out a little bit more. Nothing like that.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, fix your form. Let's do this squat. No,
Yes.
it's not like that.
Yes.
Focus, and you will know the ones that are going for that because they fall off. They fall off a lot quicker. They
Mhm.
like because it costs money. Like, how much
Yes.
are you gonna pay to get my attention? Like,
Exactly.
it's not gonna add up.
It's expensive.
It's gonna add up. So, um, that's that's always been interesting to me. But I always want to talk about that. That's gonna be a conversation for me forever.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
But
That's a deep one right there.
it
Yeah.
I mean, because
Whole nother
everybody's
show.
different. I've
Yeah. Yeah.
seen women that say that they approach the guy. They like, hey, can you spot me? Like, come on over here. What you doing? Type of
You're
thing.
right.
I don't know. Whatever works. Whatever works. So, um,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you got that. Yeah, like, like, have you done that? Have you been that person? Let's talk
Maybe.
about
I
it.
don't
I don't know. That's all the dudes gonna be looking at the video like, all right, what dress you got at? Like, listen, man. So let's talk about so we talk about some of the differences. What are, in your opinion, some ways that we can do better? Opposite sex, this whole men versus women thing. It don't have to be a men's versus women thing.
know.
Um, what are some struggles that y'all deal with as women when it comes to dealing with men in the gym? Um, what's some things that can help make y'all experience better? Uh, whether it's just being a woman in general that we should understand as men that y'all have to deal with that we don't know, um, or specifically dealing with men, and how they
Yeah.
might y'all have to deal with them.
You mean it like as far as like in the gym setting or just like supporting our fitness journeys?
I think all of it. Definitely supporting the fitness journey. Yes, let's start with that. Yes, how can we do
Yeah,
better to support y'all in y'all journey?
that's a good question because again,
Coming with
I
it.
don't think I've ever thought about it. I know. I think I think at the end of the day, every woman wants to be able to make a decision and not have it critiqued, especially by a man. Most women do. So again, unless it's solicited. So I think that there are a lot of men out there because they may be in a different space or further along in their own fitness journeys that they can just automatically apply what they've learned and experienced with women. And until men realize, okay, yeah, chest day 3 times a week might have worked for you, but I might only need it 1 day a week, and I'm okay with that. Let me start there and work my way up. And I'm not talking about trainers. I'm talking about, again, these men out here that are quote gymmers where they just show up at the gym and think they can tell you what to do. But I think at the end of the day, like, if a man can celebrate a woman that's moving along her journey no matter where she is, and if that's a man that's close to that woman or is in that woman's life, just, encourage her, support her. If she, had leg day and she's struggling, kick her feet
Mm.
up and, help her out a little bit. Like, I think that's all we need to kind of like progress. We don't need the negativity. We don't need the critique. We just need the support, the encouragement, the high fives or the fist bumps every now and then. That, to me, that's what keeps me going is, when the men that I'm close to, really just, make it a point to tell me that I'm doing good, and they like to see me keep going, and they encourage me and support me. That means a lot, for sure.
That's good stuff. Have you
Yeah.
had any of those? Is it different on the rough days than it is on the good workout days when you like killing it? Do you feel like you need it more on the rough days? Do you feel like just don't talk to me on the rough days?
On the hard workout days, I feel like,
And this ain't even just the hard workout, but those days where you like, I did more this day, and this day I felt like I sucked. All of it.
yeah, yeah, I feel like initially, like for example, if I have a hard workout at the gym, initially I just kind of want to come down from that. I don't want to necessarily be bombarded with comments at that time, but it would be nice to hear, oh, hey, great workout, glad you got it in today, but not like, you know an overflow of compliments. But I think it's the
Mhm.
consistency for me, like not necessarily, sporadically, but at the same time, supporting the journey versus each individual um, workout, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Because actually, I
Okay.
mean, you're gonna have. I mean, if you care about somebody and you care about their journey, I mean,
Yeah.
and you're around them enough, you're gonna see those good days. You're gonna see those bad day or rough days, and
Hmm.
it's not gonna always take that. Hey, you're killing it. Yeah, get it.
Right, like,
But
whoa, whoa.
right, right, right. We're like, did I really kill it? But sometimes it's gonna be those
Yeah.
like, you got it. It's gonna be all right. This day is
Yep.
over. You got tomorrow. You know,
Hmm.
uh, and I think
Yep.
that's a good point because I think for us as men, and obviously I'm not speaking for all men, but for me specifically, um, I like that too. That encouragement is a big thing. And for me specifically, some dudes are different. Some guys are different. Um, the ego thing is a big thing. Um, but ultimately, everybody wants to. So what I'm looking for. What is the word? Not praised, but everybody kind of wants the affirmation. You know.
Affirmation. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So and it shows itself in different ways, and but with men, unfortunately, sometimes it comes off as an ego thing, like, oh, you want your ego stroked, or you want, this whole somebody to come and tell you how good you did. you know Listen, I just want to hear I did good. I
Yeah.
want to hear that same, the encouragement, that same, like, hey, keep going, you got
Yeah.
it. Because with other guys, that's what we feed off of.
Yeah.
That's what we feed off of you know
Yeah.
um so not only used to hearing that, but, and this is why I say I'm speaking for me, because everybody's different. Me, I don't care about all the lovey-dovey stuff. I want to know that you care, and I can
Hmm.
tell that you care in how that comes out in your speech. Kind of like you were
Yeah.
saying, like, hey, there's times for that chest bump, and there's time that pat on the shoulder, you know,
Right.
like,
The
hey,
acknowledgement. Yes.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
So, um,
Yeah. Well,
I
it sounds
think,
like it's one of those, treat the other person like you would want to be treated, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's important because again, women we assume that men, want the compliments or the affirmations for their ego, but you know, y'all are people too. So,
You like to think
you
so
know,
sometimes.
yes, yes,
But ultimately, I mean, what I learned as a trainer is men and women, it all goes down to those basic needs. Um,
hmm
Even in the fitness journey, it all comes down to the basic needs. We all want to feel good about ourselves, whether
hmm
that's from I like how I look in the mirror. I like what people are saying about me, like, hey, you look nice.
yeah,
I like the looks I'm getting on the beach, or on the cruises and stuff like that. Everybody has that,
yeah,
those things. But it ultimately, I want to feel good about myself. Um,
yes, yes,
and sometimes we don't even know that it's just that simple. You know,
hmm
sometimes we're like, oh man, I gotta kill this swimsuit, or I gotta kill this, this wedding that I can that's coming up, and I gotta
yeah,
get in shape for to fit into this dress. Like nobody wants to look bad on their wedding. Everybody wants to look good on their wedding, but everybody wants to look good on their wedding because they want to feel good at their
yes,
wedding. It adds to
yep,
all of the other things that come to that experience, you know.
yep,
And once I feel like once we learn and understand that and accept that, it's
hmm
easier to treat each other the way we want to be treated.
that's true.
Like, hey, they ain't just because I'll chop everything, a lot of things up to like, hey, they just looking in the mirror. They just want to look at themselves in the mirror all the time. And then I
Yeah,
have to catch myself sometimes, like, where's that come from? What is that? Are they? You have those people that have been big their whole life, or what they would consider big their whole lives, and this
hmm
is new to them. So they
yep,
like, I like this look. This is different. This is
hmm
interesting. Like I like how these clothes fit on me. I couldn't wear these before. I wore baggy sweats my
right.
entire life. you know. So
Yes, yes,
sometimes you have to get down to that, and it's okay, and accept that it's okay. I'm looking in the mirror for a little longer. If they don't care, why is that hurting you? So, I think
exactly.
that's a very, very good point that you brought up, treating other people like you want to be treated.
Yeah, yeah. hmm
Well, just no further ado. I'm just gonna call you Jess, like we grew up together. But just
Might as well, might as well.
like we gym buddies. How about that? Listen,
That's right, Miss Bump.
yeah. Like, listen, you did awesome today
Oh,
on this show.
likewise.
You,
Always a pleasure
chest bump.
talking to
You're killing it right now. Keep it up.
you.
No, but seriously, let the people know where they can find you. What are some things that you're working on right now?
Yeah, so meanwhile, like I said, I'm physically in Central America, but the beauty of technology, right? So you can find me on Instagram, Nutritionista Jess, Nutritionista Jess. I'm also on Facebook, Jessica McAllister, or if you look for JLMRD approved, I know that's a lot, but maybe we'll throw it somewhere on here or in the comments. You can find me there. I still do post a little bit on my website. Not taking any active clients as of yet, but in the coming months, I will start taking clients again. But certainly reach out to me. My website is scrolling down here, jmcallisterrd.com. Um, yeah, reach out, shoot me a question, shoot me a message, anything you all need. I'm here for you virtually.
I heard you. I love it. Listen, thank you
Yes,
so much for hanging out with us today and kind
absolutely.
of going down this journey, helping us understand as much as you could uh, the woman side of the journey and that men versus women game that we are all entangled in
Yes.
right now.
But we make it work, we make
Yes,
it work.
that's the goal. That's the goal. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for hanging out with us, and
Uh,
that's pretty much it.
Thank you for
All
having
right.
me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty.